I'm Lisa Matthews, and welcome into the State 48 podcast, where we bring you all things AZ. And on today's show, we have a female powerhouse in the social media world, Lola, aka, well, actually backwards, Lauren, aka Lola, for what Lola likes. We're going to break down how she's built such a huge business on social media. But first things first, we're going to start with a little game. This or that. I'm not gonna put you on the spot. It's really easy. Just picking through your social media. I was like, I have a few questions for her, just for the fans to get to know you better, okay?
Okay.
All right. First one is a day at the beach or winter cabin?
Beach.
Why? You like the
I like the sun.
Yeah, the sun more.
Yeah.
Phoenix in the fall or spring?
The fall.
Good fall vibes right now.
Love the fall.
Wear the hoodie. All the good food. Okay. Pizza, speaking of food, pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Do you have a favorite place here? I know you like to pub
do.
places in Arizona.
Yes. I would say, honestly, pizza is really hard here because we have a lot of good pizza spots, but I especially love Via Della Slice in downtown Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really
nice plug.
Small, but so good. My girl, it's their favorite spot too.
I love pizza, but I'm not a snotty pizza. I will do Caesars. Little Caesars will have like the best. I've had the best pizza in Italy, and I'm like, I will do either.
Yeah,
I just love pizza.
I do too. Yeah.
Okay, reading a good book or listening to a podcast?
Can I say listening to an Audible?
Yes, because that's all I don't read.
Yeah,
we're moms. We got to just be on the go.
I do have a book that I'm reading that is taking me months to get through because it's just sitting down and doing it. But if I have an Audible, I can fly through it.
On the go.
Yeah.
Cozy day at home with your girls or a 15-hour day at Disneyland?
Oh gosh, home, home, 100% home.
Every time I go to Disneyland, it's like 15 hours max.
Yeah, no. I would say home. Yeah.
Okay. Just be cozy with the girls. What do you guys like to do?
Color, and we just like to, I'll take them to the park, play outside now. It's so nice, go on walks. But primarily we like to sit and color.
I love that. I've seen that on your stories. You do a drawing every day with them.
So it's kind of for them and myself.
Okay.
In the morning, in the nighttime, I will think of something. I'll get some inspiration from Google. I'll eyeball it, and then I'll trace the other one to make sure they match, because they have to match, of course. And it's kind of like a little breakfast invitation in the morning for them to color while I make breakfast, have coffee. It's a little bit just like a ease into the morning.
I love that.
Yeah.
Mom of the year. So you do that every night?
Every night. And I try to take weekends off, but they don't let me.
No, I imagine that.
They're like, Mom,
why
don't we have it? And they get really excited because I'll sometimes base it off of something they like or random or just something pretty, but they'll get really excited. Like if there's a, Halloween coming up, it'll make it more festive. But I just I wing it though. Every night's I wing it.
So are you an artist?
No.
By night.
No, by night. Yeah. No, I'm not an artist. I think it's just, it's very therapeutic for me as well. And I've honestly started feeling more creative in the ability to draw. Like I was doing a project with my daughter for school, and we added a mermaid, and now I know how to draw a mermaid. Wow. Where before I would have to do it a few times and stuff, but now I can just do it.
So try this.
I think it's adding to my creativity as well, but for me, it's very relaxing at night, and I know they're going to be so excited in the morning, so it's just fun.
That's awesome. Okay, have you seen people through your social media catch on to this trend and start doing it themselves for the kids?
Totally.
Okay. Do you have a hashtag? Do I need to join in on this?
I don't. I should make one. I mean, do people hashtag anymore?
I don't know. I'm going to ask you that. You're the social media expert here.
I honestly don't.
Tell me, because I hashtag too much then.
So I don't. I'm hashtagging on TikTok because I feel like that's how people are going to find. I don't really hashtag on Instagram, only because I have found that when you hashtag on your feed, it brings a lot of bots and those welcome to Arizona, those ones. Anytime you hashtag or you put the location, it does that.
Okay.
So I've just kind of stopped doing that, and there's moments where people will, I don't know, I just feel like they'll find Reels. I feel like people can find you a lot easier than your feed posts. Obviously, it's just people that follow you, but I don't know. I try to just not worry so much about it because the algorithm and everything we're dealing with, it's out of our hands at this point. And I'd rather have authentic comments from people actually looking and enjoying it than all of those random bots and annoying.
Dang, I'm already learning so much. No more hashtags out in 2023 here.
Don't,
Or 2020.
Don't quote me, but it's just what I do.
Wait, what year is it? I just said 2023.
We're not quite there yet.
We're not there yet.
We're 2022.
But maybe someone listening to this, it will be in the future. So it works. We talked a lot about mom brains. So that was a moment there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of just how the creation of What Lola Likes came to be. It started off as a blog and obviously has expanded since then. So what kind of just started all of that?
So I started in 2011, and I think it's just evolved based off of me and what I'm doing in that current time, because everything is kind of, and how it's always been and how it always is day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment. I don't plan anything unless it's, a paid sponsorship. Everything is just done organically, and I'll edit in those moments. I'll pick music in those moments, but I like to just kind of like free flow my content into like what my mood is that day. And that's where it can kind of be so random. But that's what I just love. I think it just makes sense to me. And I think that's where people have been able to really see who I am as a person, my brand, it being such a clear picture, because I don't know. I think it just makes the most sense that way. But it started in 2011 as more as inspiration. I was a new wife. I was learning to cook. I was running half marathons. It was way more health and clean eating. And then it kind of became motherhood, fashion, motherhood. I did Dog of the Week for before kids. I did Dog of the Week, which was showcasing a rescue dog and trying to get dogs adopted. And then motherhood. And I think motherhood was when it really took off, because it was just, I think there's so many, parents out there that either are going to be parents, or soon to be parents, are parents. I just think that, there's so much conversation within being a parent. So I think it just really grew during that time, because I was able to be my most authentic self. I didn't wear makeup anymore. Before that it was a hard, I basically started when Instagram was starting. So you go through all those motions of, wanting to look good on camera and wearing makeup and not posting unless I was all dolled up. And then when motherhood happened, I didn't have time.
You just don't have the time.
I don't have time, but I had things to say.
Yeah.
So I essentially just kind of was like, you know what? This is what it is. And I think the best part of it all was nobody picked me apart. Nobody was like, oh my gosh, your skin. Yeah, because, I had crazy acne. I just was exhausted. So nobody picked me apart. And I think that's what gave me the most confidence to continue. And I think people just related to me so much because I was just freely talking and kind of going milestone by milestone. And, they were able to follow along, and maybe they were in that same journey or not far. And people just kind of gravitated to it. But it was the best thing that could have happened was being a mom, because it just really, I felt like, gave me such a purpose, and I was able to have so many conversations about it.
Yeah. So when you started in 2011, I mean, the purpose was just to share day-to-day fashion and all of that. How have you just seen since then, not only yourself grow, but your mission in this as well?
I think my mission, I always said, even when I was younger, like if I had more money and a platform of some sort, I don't know what it is. I literally said this when I was younger, which is odd. If I ever had it, I would do something good with it. So I feel like with everything, I try to help women or whomever is following me in some sort of way based off of my experiences. So, pandemic happened, and I set up a Facebook page dedicated to people that were able to donate to each other because all the places were closed. So donating, getting anything, money was tight for a lot of people. So I created a page to have basically parents donate to each other. They could send boxes of clothes or diapers or this. Like, it was like the most amazing thing to witness.
Wow.
And now going through a divorce, I have a Facebook page for just kind of those beginning stages of divorce. Nobody talks about it. Nobody knows much about divorce until you're in divorce. And it can be a very like difficult, trying, like exhausting time, and also very, overwhelming. And I think there's a lot of information people don't know or don't understand. So that's kind of where it's just a place for women to connect, to be able to share their experiences or what's worked for them, or, hey, here's a couple tips, or somebody has a story. They're getting validated in some sort of way. So it's just like a place to help each other in any way possible. So I just feel like it's almost like you feel like you're a guinea pig of life. Like I feel like that's kind of how I am. Yeah. Like I'm just like a guinea pig, and I'll just do whatever and share my experience. But I think I just always love being able to help in any sort of way that I can.
Yeah, I think the authenticity, that's what's going to truly grab the attention of people. They're going to want to be in a space that's real, that's not curated perfectly, because yes, you are going through the midst of a divorce and you have kids and all that. Nothing's going to look pretty and perfect at all times. No. When you see a platform like that, you're like, okay, what's really going on here? I can't really connect with that because I'm going through my own things.
Totally.
So I love that you're able to just show up as yourself in that midst of everything. But how have you seen, because when you started, remember the old IG was all photos. Yeah. Right? It's like, okay, pick a photo of the day or your food in like dark lighting and a cool filter.
You could barely ever do that these days. You have to put it in a carousel.
Yeah.
You would never be able to just post a shoe. Yeah. I think I've done just shoes before. Yeah. That's
back in the day. That's old.
Back in the day. You can't do it.
Now it's like, God knows the algorithm and everything that plays into it, but now it's a lot of reels and videos, the attention grabber showing up on your story. So how have you had to kind of just shift and not being someone that has much strategy behind it, as you're saying, of like content days or things like that? Just how have you been able to just to shift with what is current and how to grab people's attention and continue to grow your platform?
I think, honestly, taking it day by day, and as real life occurrences and situations happen, I just kind of, talk about it. And it's hard to really, I think, answer that because, I don't know, you just pivot. You just do it. Yeah. And with I have found with reels and videos, I was able to kind of find a passion of mine because creating videos has been my most favorite thing to do. And before that, it wasn't really a thing. Yeah. And it has been feed posts are standard. If at this point, almost like not even nobody really cares anymore about you sitting there posing. But they can really get a sense of who you are in a video form because it's movement, it's music. And I think that's where people are really able to see who I am because I'm able to put actual emotions behind it or conversation, and you can hear my voice and everything like that. So I think, I don't know. I've loved how it's kind of been that. I think it's hard because there's so many platforms, and it's hard to decide where you put your energy. And that's, I think, been a tricky thing for me because people will say, oh, do YouTube, that's where a lot of marketing money is going now. Everybody, the algorithm and Instagram is out. TikTok is huge, do that. But then it's how much effort and time do you want to put into it? I have found though TikTok is becoming easier to navigate because I didn't quite understand it at first.
Oh, I would not get on TikTok because I was like, hey, my little cousins are on there. Totally. And there's a bunch of bullies on there too, 14-year-old bullies.
No, TikTok is a tough place.
It is.
It's a tough place. In general on social media, you have to have a very thick skin. Yeah. It's not for the weak. No. It is not for the weak.
Well, I always tell people too, when they tell me, social media is a down place for me, or I get overwhelmed, or I hate being, scrolling through Instagram. I always say, well, you are in control here. So who are you following, and 100%. How are they filling up what makes you fulfilled in any way or makes you feel at peace or happy. I mean, it's your choice to pick up the phone in the morning.
Yeah.
It's your choice when you set it down, but also like what you're ingesting is so important.
It
so
is
how do you make
so
sure
important.
you are a platform that speaks that seeps of that, because people obviously will be more drawn to that other than everything else that you can consume on social media.
Honestly, I say it.
Yeah.
I will say, hey, if you are following people that are making you unhappy in any sort of way, if they're making you feel bad about yourself, if they're making you frustrated, or maybe you're becoming a bully and you're writing mean messages to them, like you're becoming a negative person, they're bringing out a negative side of you, realize that and unfollow. I'm like, even if it's me, I'm like, if it's me, I'm okay with that. If you're gonna be in a better headspace not following me, then that's good for you. I think it's important to put that out, and it's not just about, ooh, how many followers can I get? It's like you want the quality people. You want the people that are there not to go, you know, oh my gosh, I love hate following Lola. Like, I don't want that. Like, I want people that are authentically there to like cheer me on and be excited for my brand deals and the things I'm doing and the opportunities. Like, that's essentially what you want. Those are all, so many people that follow me have become almost friends, family in a sense.
I'm sure.
And honestly, some even more supportive than the people, you know, I have actually very good people in my life, but like, you know, it's like even from years ago when I didn't feel that support from friends when I first started, it's like now I have just so many people in my corner, and it's really amazing to see. But I do put it out there. I'll say it. I'll talk about it often. I'll talk about online bullying. I'll share messages that I get from people to put in perspective, like, hey, like, I'm human. Like, I know it's easy to like point fingers or, you know, think I'm picture perfect. That's also like a thing. I don't like to showcase picture perfect. I do have, you know, a photographer that I'll take pictures, and those will be a lot of my feed photos.
Which we love her, by the way.
Which she's obviously,
she's amazing.
You know, the best. Everybody knows her here. But like, you know, I have those for sure. But at the same time, I like to balance it with so much reality that people aren't feeling. I try to have people not feel bad about themselves. Like, hey, I just had a really hard night with my kids. Like, I am unable to get Alice down. I had this or that. You know, it's like I have all those conversations. And I think it's important for people to realize even things that are shown on social media isn't everything that's even shown. But even the ones that are authentic, they're not sharing everything. But, you know, I just try to have those conversations often.
At what point did you see just your social media start to take off and you really say, okay, maybe this is something I should dive more into and give a little bit more time to?
Definitely motherhood. I'd say 2014 is when I was like, okay, I'm going to start putting more effort into it. I had a friend who was in PR, just kind of like, I see something in you. I think you should kind of start going for it. I decided to make it more of a niche with the dog of the week. Instead of holding a purse, I would hold a dog.
I love that.
And that was really successful for a long time. And that's where I think a lot of people locally started following me. But then motherhood was when it really took off because it was just such authentic conversation. And then I worked, you know, my full-time job and did the blog on the side. And I was able to quit when I had Alice.
I love that. And now you get to work when you want.
Yeah.
With your kids by your side.
Yeah.
And then watching you build something that's impactful. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's hard. There's so much balance because, you know, essentially I'm working and then I have my kids and I'm on my phone, and balancing can be very difficult, but you have to mentally shut down sometimes. But it's hard because you want to do all of it.
I know.
Because it is hard. It is hard to designate times to just put the phone away.
I was going to ask that. Do you have certain times in the day where you're like, okay, I'm going to be unplugged, super present here with the kids? Just because, I mean, that's, if you work online or not, that is the daily struggle anyways. I have people that I see and, you know, picking up their kids from school and they're on their phone.
I think we're just all addicted, to be perfectly honest. We're all addicted.
There's no way out of it.
There's no other explanation. We're just all addicted. It's just what it is these days. I think setting healthy boundaries is important. Sometimes you're going to be better at it than other days, and that's okay. You have a new day, but I think just, you know, have that understanding like, hey, I want to do this, and then work towards it, because it is essentially an addiction that I think people don't really realize. I take Sundays off social, and I've been doing that, for a year. So every Sunday, so weekends I'm pretty lax. I don't overdo it. I make it very, you know, whatever we're doing, or if I want to do it, if I don't want to do it. And Sunday I completely don't go on social. So that's been a really nice balance. I honestly try to just put my phone somewhere and plug it in.
Lose it.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, content creation, setting it up on a tripod and filming whatever I'm doing is kind of like a nice little break. It allows me to get the content. I can kind of go back to it later, but I'm not going to be distracted where I know like, okay, I'm getting this done because this is like for content. So that's helpful. Setting time. So like mornings, you know, it depends on the morning, but typically like I'll kind of show like what, you know, the drawing is, and evening we'll do some little thing with my kiddos. It's all day by day. Yeah. I try not to be too hard on myself, because I sometimes will go, okay, I could be at an office and not be with my kids, or they could be here and I have my phone. Like I try to give myself grace in that, because it is very hard to balance and kind of decide when to turn off. But if you feel it, just maybe put the phone down and, you know,
shut her off.
So
for those who are interested, I'm sure plenty of people have come up to you like seeking advice, wanting to build a platform, a brand, and monetize that. To be able to do that, to be able to stay home with their kids or just create what they want to with their lives, what would be your advice to get started?
Gosh, you know, social media, Instagram, I think first and foremost, it is definitely a very oversaturated market. But what's amazing about 2022 is I feel like there's that ability to do anything you want. Like you're literally able to do anything if you have that motivation. So figure out exactly what you want to do, but also just go for it. Like I think everybody can give tips and tricks and what's worked for them. Like I started 10 years ago. So it's so different from when it was me to now. Like now people can blow up in an instance on
reel
TikTok or one Instagram reel. And I think that's amazing. But I think kind of have a plan, because when that does happen, they go, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So I think just being your most authentic self is key, and realize that you may have to work for free for a very long time, and be okay with that until you're able to actually monetize. I think nowadays it's easier to start monetizing. I started TikTok this year. I mean, I did it before. I stopped doing it because I was just kind of like, I don't get it. And then I kind of went back to it. And now I'm kind of able to understand it and grow a little bit on there. And I've been getting a few sponsorships because of it. And it's like, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to work for it. You have to build. You have to have something that you're talking about and wanting to put out there. And then it just kind of will happen, you know? But I think working towards it, but realizing that it takes a lot of work, takes time and energy, and it's not going to be successful overnight, and just
people want that instant satisfaction or instant, you know, sponsorship. Like, hey, we saw you do a dancing reel. Come
totally,
come
100%. Yeah, and I get that a lot. I get that. Hey, I'd like to stay home too. And I'm like, well, behind the scenes, you didn't know I was working a full-time job for years before being able to quit my job. And even that, it was a risk. You're like, shoot, this could go away tomorrow. But you know, I think just for me, I do it because I love it, and it was such a natural thing for me. I was always the person to take photos and share and like do this job makes so much sense for me. It's like not even funny. But it just came so natural to me, and I love doing it. So when you
definitely can't force it.
You can't force it. And I think once you're, you know, doing something that you love, especially in that world, because I think I've had friends that wanted to do it and I'm like, go for it, do it. And they realize the commitment and the time and the energy, and it really is a lot of work. They either decide if they want to do that or not, but you're not going to know until you go for it.
Yeah. I think too, in the business realm, sometimes it's, in a sense, sometimes looked down upon, like, you're just an influencer.
Oh my gosh.
They don't realize, like, you are still very much building a business here. And if not
Absolutely.
from like as much as from the ground up.
Absolutely.
And you might not have the overhead of starting an actual like brick and mortar and having all of that to deal with, which is in itself, yes, part of business, but you have other aspects of it that come to play.
Right. And you have so many hats that you wear within it.
Right. You don't have a whole team.
No, and some people, like I have, now I have a management company that helps me with finding brands or communicating with brands who do reach out, contracts, everything like that. But at the beginning,
it's you.
You are the one doing all of that. And you have to kind of learn pretty quickly how to navigate a contract and realize what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
And then, going back and forth with brands and then having time to create the content, editing the content. Like, I think people don't realize how much time goes into editing. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, she's just, doing the dishes today. You know what I mean? It's like
getting paid by that soap brand.
Right. She's just like doing this or that. Like, essentially it's pretty amazing if you think about it. I'm living my life. Some content creation that is work is me folding laundry, deciding what to wear that day, bringing, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like in general, when you think about it, it's pretty freaking cool. I never in a million years thought I would ever have the opportunity to not only stay home with my kids, but have this kind of creative job like that. I never in a million years thought I would have that opportunity. Yeah. So it's pretty cool, but it's also the reality of it. It's not, doesn't come easy.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you manage that time then? Because you talked about not having much of like a strategy, more going day by day, which you kind of have to with children anyways. But how do you just manage that time, and also obviously knowing that your girls are looking on, and how can you make sure that you are at the same time, because I struggle with that too, like how much to show of your children and your kids in a space, in a world that's ever changing, that it's at times scary, like you're just putting information out there. So how have you been able to manage all of that as you grow?
So first of all, privacy wise, anytime I'm out with my kids, I do not share what we're doing, where we're at, until we're home. So I don't, put any of that out there until we're actually home. And then as far as actual content, I just it's day by day. It's their moods. They'll tell me they don't want to, and I won't, or I'll be like, hey, do you mind if I take this photo? I have many times where I'll have a selfie and Vivian will be like, all right. And Alice is like, I don't want to be in it. And I'm like, okay. Like it's totally, I will never force them to do anything they don't want to do. And I try not to overdo it with them. Like it kind of, again, it's like day by day. It's if they're wanting to, but for the most part, I try to keep it a minimum of what I share. I used to share a lot more like milestones and personality and stuff like that. They'll see a little bit of that, but for the most part, a lot of it's me, because they're at school now all day long.
That's true.
So it's kind of crazy. And to figure like what to do during the day, honestly, I still struggle with that. I won't lie.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
because no, for sure. But I'm saying like because you almost have too much time in the day.
Right.
So I will be like, I want to do this, and I'll like make a list, and then I'm like, brain fog.
Brain
fog.
Mom brain.
But I will literally be like clouded, and then I'll be on my phone too much, and then I almost get that, like that feeling of like, you just want to take a nap because you're just like over stimulated. You're just like stimulated. Oh yeah, there it is. This is a really good one. Overstimulated, and you're just kind of like, okay, and then you just end up like in your DMs. Like that's my struggle is the constant conversation on my Instagram, in my DMs. I always feel like I need to be reading and responding. And that's, I think, become the most difficult because there's times where I'll read it and then I'm doing something else. I'm like, shoot.
Oh, I do that to my husband.
Totally.
I'm like, I mentally answer
Right.
or my friends. They're like,
I mentally answer
where have you
so
been?
many. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And what is the worst is when people like, they'll say such a heartfelt thing and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I miss that? You know, and it's just, it's the hardest, but it's really hard to navigate. I just think giving everybody grace, knowing that there's so much navigating that day is crazy.
It's so much.
It is a lot.
Kids, you're building a business.
Right. I know time blocking. I've tried that and I know it's just sticking to it. Again, it's like practices that will work for you. I have done that and I do think it does work. So if anybody is interested in that, I would definitely check out doing time blocking and actually setting aside the time where you do not go on Instagram from this time to this time because you're going to work out because you want to work out.
Yeah, it's
and
so
you
true.
need to because then all of a sudden, or you need to eat. Sometimes putting in, that's why I do Eat Clean.
Yes.
Have you had Eat Clean yet?
Mm-mm.
So it's a local company and it's basically clean meals that they deliver. And they say they saved my life. Like, I'm not even kidding you because the beginning of the divorce, I was stressed and losing so much weight. And Ryan essentially fed me.
Wow.
Yeah, he fed me.
That's amazing. Well, what I love too about your platform is like you highlight so many local small businesses. I mean, you just speaking of your testimony right now with Eat Clean, that's enough to be like, oh, okay, I want to check them out. They sound amazing and your results with that. So what kind of spurred that passion in having this platform, not just on, you know, here's what I'm wearing, here's what I like, but here's where you can support here.
Well, it's our community.
Yeah.
And it's like you want to support the people around you that are not only supporting you in so many ways, but what you genuinely love. So like, I think that's where social media is such an awesome place. It's so, you know, like that ability to find different companies is so cool. And I've learned new ones every day.
Right.
So it's ones that I have found that really like, you know, I really love, I will share. And I don't get paid for Eat Clean. Like they don't pay me to promote them. They give me free meals though, but
I'll take that, a free meal any day.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, that's the thing though. It becomes a natural partnership because you're able to speak and experience it firsthand. And it's like, those are my absolute favorite partnerships. Many partnerships have come from that, from me just naturally using a product or, you know, going to Maple and Ash, and then they're like, hey, we want you to create a reel for us. And then that became a partnership. So it's like, it's just how those happen, but those are the most authentic. Everyone's looking for ways to support locally as well. And if you know me, I don't flip-flop places when it comes to like beauty. And so like, you're not going to find me going to one eyebrow girl and then a month later going to another eyebrow girl. I'm going to be at that eyebrow girl for years.
You're a lifer.
I'm a lifer. If I love you, I'm a lifer. And
plug in State 48 here.
Yeah.
You're a lifer with that. You were one of their first models, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
With them when they launched. That's
when was that?
2014.
14. Yeah. So that's right when I met Mike at Phoenix Fashion Week. When I first started, I went to Phoenix Fashion Week by myself and got to meet a bunch of people, and then you build and have a relationship for how long? So long.
So that's when you were first getting into, okay, I'm going to take this more seriously. I'm going to run with this. Yeah. And like
probably literally like within a couple months, I was like, okay, I'm going to start like taking this more serious. Do some, I shot fashion in my backyard. That's how serious I was taking it.
Ring light.
Not even. It was like, hey, can you take this photo of me? And just, you know, then I had met Jenica as well on that shoot. But it's just crazy how you build connections. But yeah, I went to Phoenix Fashion Week that year by myself, met Mike. And it was everybody was so cliquey there. And I was like, all right, I'm just walking around by myself. But that's how I got to meet a bunch of people. Went up, met a few people, and have stayed connected with a few over the years. It's great.
That.
Yeah.
What are you hoping now as, you know, you continue to see everything evolve on social media? What are you hoping that you continue to bring when people come to your platform, your Instagram or TikTok now that you're branching out? What are 3 things that you hope people see, feel, think when they come to you?
I hope they feel calm when they come to my page, and they can just kind of like, I don't know, it's just like a way of just, I don't know, I don't even know the term, but just like a sense of calm, positivity. So any situation I try to, I think it's just how I've evolved throughout the years. I try to think positive in any sort of situation I'm in, whether that's negative. I'm just like, okay. And I talk through it with people. So then they're like, oh, wow, that's a really interesting perspective. So I try to get people to see positive and negatives. And I don't know, I think just new and fun ways that you can spend time with your kids and just like, growing with your family.
I love that. How was that for you? Obviously being in some of a public eye, and you have your family unit and you're going through the midst of divorce and breakup, and still wanting to obviously connect with your audience because they know you, they know your lifestyle, as you bring it to them day to day. It feels like, and it sounds like, that you have found a lot of peace in this journey and like healing. Yeah. I saw you're reading a book that I just finished. I love The Healing. It says, when you're ready to heal, read this.
So good.
I love all of Brianna West's stuff.
I was obsessed with it. And sometimes I'll want to read it out loud because I'm like, and I'd share it with people. And I've had so many people buy the book because of it, because there's not only is it just great for those moments of healing, but I just feel like life. Yeah. It's just, she has so many good words in there, so much good perspective, and I love that book. I'm still reading it because it's the one that I got. It's the one on the table. It's the one on the table. People are like, how long have you been reading this? I'm like, a long time.
I will reread that book, like you said. I mean,
there's chapters moments. I will reread because, again, you sit there. I need to just I honestly feel like it's a book you can just keep taking in. Oh, yeah. And the more you read it, the more just you take it in. Yeah. So how have I been able to navigate? I feel like sharing a lot of healing, like poetry, therapy, just ways that I've been able to do self-care, self-love, because I think it's so important. Not only am I, going through a breakup, divorce, so many people go through that in life, and whether that be a breakup of marriage or friendships or business partners, like there's so many ways people deal with that. So that's just how I've been able to navigate it. And I kind of share as I go. I can't share everything, it's in a public eye too. Like I try to keep a lot private for the sake of my kids. And, I think just trying to, you don't have to share everything either. Like, I think I think nowadays, like, people are oversharing. I'll share some stuff. And there's moments where I get frustrated, and you'll probably see a little bit more of a quote. Then you're like, is that about something? You know what I mean?
There's an undertone there.
Right. Like, we all have those moments. But it's like, for the most part, it's not really about what happened. It's about, okay, something happened, and how do we get past it? How do we move on? How do we carry on? And that's what I want people to take away. Is nobody needs to know what happened. It's how can we evolve from the situation.
Yeah, and learn to heal.
Because
everyone needs to heal.
Because everybody does, yeah.
So I've seen that you've put together, groups or events where women can come together and feel empowered and go through, healing or just be amongst one another. Has that always been a dream to kind of put together events now using this platform?
Yeah, I think events, I just love it because it's kind of like a thank you, and it's a way for women to come together. I know I get messages all the time of, how do you meet people? And so I tried to have events, and I try to encourage people, hey, you don't have to have a girlfriend to come. Just come. I promise you, I will grab you and connect you. It's like, I've had so many women meet each other at these events, and it's so empowering. It's so amazing. It's also scary because you're like,
you're putting yourself out there.
Are people going to come? So it is a little nerve-wracking. I've tried to make it free or very inexpensive. I partnered with, Tarbell's, Maple and Ash, Etta, like amazing restaurants that also just, want to support me as well. So I think it's all around a very cohesive collaboration, which is great. But they're so fun. And I try, if it's not in person, I'm trying to do, like with my Facebook group, I want to do like a live with them where we're just all sitting and talking. And I just love having the community because again, like there's some days that are harder than others. And I get so much like empowerment when people like want to comment back. I mean, think about it. It's like you're taking time out of your day to comment either something nice or that you relate or just like, hey, I have this feedback or hey, this actually worked for me. I get so much of that I take from this community of people that they're helping me in so many ways too.
When you were saying that, it spurred, I saw something the other day where, you know, so many people put so much behind the likes. Like if you get only certain amount of likes, like you failed or it's not working or no one cares. But, you know, if you get 67 likes, right, on a picture or something, most people would be like, oh my gosh, if you're used to getting thousands and thousands. But if 66 people came up to you right now and were complimenting you in some way or saying something to you or just like you felt that love, right?
Yeah.
Or that click of a like, you would feel overwhelmed with joy. Like it would be overwhelming. So much is put behind just that number when in reality, like imagine 66 people came up to you or 67 people.
100%.
And you'd feel, oh my gosh, so joyous. So I think that's so beautiful to see and know that, you know, you kind of shift your mindset on what social media has become. And truly what you're doing on social media is just creating that space for that collaboration, that loving on each other, that bringing the community together. And it's
building each other up.
Yeah, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, keep doing big things, girl.
Thank
we
you.
love it. What Lola likes, what Lauren likes. We love it all. We're so thankful
Thank
for you to
you.
come on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
State 48, you're a lifer, girl.
Yes, lifer.
So where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Do you do dancing TikToks?
I don't.
Should we do one right now? Yes. You're like on the spot. No. I love the dancing TikToks. Maybe we'll do it after.
I just
the
like
show.
don't know how to learn.
I'll teach
them.
you. We got this.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our TikTok, but also follow us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify for all of our episodes. We'll see you next week.